What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I am here with the Round 2 battle of the winners bracket of the CPC off-season tournament. Now, if you happen to miss the battle last week, the Round 1 winners bracket battle against the Arizona Dactyls, I would suggest that you go check that out. It will be a link in the description below. That was a very, very close game and definitely worth checking out, but we did manage to escape with a narrow 1-0 victory despite the ugliness of that game. But this round, we are against Gypsy King and the Sydney Sharpedos. Now, the interesting thing here is that Gypsy and I are considered probably the two favorites to win this tournament, the two top favorites to win this tournament, and we happen to get matched against each other in round 2 of the winners bracket in a 16-person tournament. So, unfortunately, that's just kind of how the cards fell in this game, but I'm going to have likely my toughest opponent of the entire tournament here in round 2. And let me tell you, I'm actually pretty excited to face him, as he did very well in the March Madness draft tournament that happened here just a few weeks ago. He made it all the way to the bracket round. I don't remember how far he got in the bracket round, either the first or second round of the bracket round of that tournament, and like I said, that's very good, especially considering how many people were in that tournament. So it's obvious that he's a solid player, and his Smogon credentials are also quite good in terms of ladder peaks and etc. So it's going to be a worthy opponent, to say the least, and I'm really excited to see how I stack up against him. But let's go ahead and take a look at his team. He has Mega Charizard X, Thunderous Eye, Tentacruel, Shaman, Ambipom, Clawitzer, Magmortar, Hariyama, Stunfisk, and Ninjask. So he's got some big threats. Obviously, the two OU Pokemon are the biggest threats here, Mega Charizard X and Thunderous Eye, as if you look at their matchups compared to my team, they are very, very good, especially Mega Charizard X if you were to run perhaps a more bulky set. And in this league, Mega Charizard X is actually an even bigger threat, as it's not forced to Mega Evolve turn 1 like it is in the MPL. So if he wishes to maintain his ground immunity and stay in the standard Charizard form, he can do so, and that can actually really throw off my game plan. Thunderous Eye, of course, is always just a threat due to its incredible versatility. Priority Taunt is very strong against my team, as well as Thunder Wave. As we all know, my luck with Yellow Magic is not too good, and I would be very grateful if I did not have to deal with that this week, but I cannot expect him to not bring that. In fact, it's a good option against my team, considering Megalodios' matchup and considering Infernape's matchup and etc. So, Thunderous Eye and Mega Charizard X, very big threats. Tentacruel is also a big threat here, at least on the defensive side, as if you look at my primary sweepers, or two of my best sweepers in Infernape and Clefable, both of those are hard stopped by some forms of Tentacruel. So, Tentacruel almost undoubtedly is coming this week, probably specifically as an Infernape check, or maybe an Infernape counter. I guess if I ran Iron Fist Thunder Punch, it wouldn't be that good of a counter, but regardless, it's a good switch into Infernape at least once. It also, if it's running Haze or Acid Spray, is good against Clefable. Just overall, it's very good defensively against my team, and it's something that I have to be a little bit careful for in my preparation, or careful about in my preparation. In terms of my threats against his team, Megalodios is an enormous threat, as it's going to be every single week, I guarantee it, just because Megalodios is too good for a standard draft format. I stand by that 100%. It is way too strong, way too bulky for a standard draft format, just because it can take hits from so many things, and it has an incredible move pool to where it can really cover all of its bases and just prove to be a threat every single week. So Megalodios is just intrinsically a big threat against this team, and it's also nice in terms of its speed tier, as it does handle things like the Shaman, the Mega Charizard X. It forces him to run a plus speed nature Thunderous, and it also forces him to run some Scarfers otherwise if he wants to try to outspeed it with anything. I guess Ambipom can outspeed it, but Ambipom's not really a threat, to say the least, in my opinion. But yeah, Megalodios is very strong against this team, as well as Infernape, as Infernape does have pretty much access to any move I could possibly want to run this week, and the combination of fighting and fire coverage is just really strong against him, and I'll show you what I decided to come up with here soon. But defensively, I do believe, actually offensively as well, Ursaring is very strong, as he has no steel types, he has no ghost types, so Facade is very strong. I could run behind a Trick Room, I could run it with like boosted by Toxic Orb and Quick Feet. It's very strong against him offensively, but defensively, as I was going to mention earlier, Melodic is very good too, especially if I run something like a Wakan Berry and Mirror Coat, or just Ice Beam for the Thunderous. It just seems like it has a solid matchup overall, but I'm going to go ahead and jump on into the team builder and show you what I decided to bring this time. Alright, so first things first, we need to deal with this Mega Charizard X problem, as Mega Charizard X is such an enormous threat to my team, and I need to make sure I have at least one surefire way of dealing with it, regardless of what setup brings. So I thought the best possible option I had for that was a fully defensive Clefable. I couldn't afford to run investment and really anything but defense and HP here, as I need essentially all the investment possible to be able to survive an Adamant Flare Blitz from that thing after Stealth Rock. So that's what I decided to do here, and as far as the moveset is concerned, just running Cosmic Power as kind of a utility move, as after a Cosmic Power, I can take Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb from Thundurus, I can take a Sludge Wave from the Clawitzer, I could take really any rogue non-stab poison or steel move from anything else on his team, as the only other things that have that type of coverage are like non-OU, so they're not going to hit as hard generally. So overall, this is pretty good against him. A Thunder Wave, just so I can have the Yellow Magic on my side, and it'll of course help against the Charizard should it get up to like +2 or even +1, and I need to slow it down so that the rest of my team can deal with it. So overall, this is a pretty good mon against his team. Obviously, it's not going to be sweeping unless I were to run something like Stored Power as my attacking move instead of Moonblast, but Stored Power really isn't worth it when he has the potential to bring a Tentacruel, and in fact the likelihood to bring a Tentacruel, as if it were like a Haze Tentacruel, then Stored Power is essentially a useless attacking option, as I'll never be able to get up more than a couple Cosmic Powers. So overall, this was definitely the best moveset, I believe, this week, as Moonblast hits really everything on his team pretty well enough for my taste. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. That is an Ursaring. Now, Ursaring is really solid against him, as I mentioned earlier. As he has no steel types, he has no ghost types, so Facade just kind of runs straight through him. Unfortunately, Ursaring isn't able to OHKO very much on his team without a +2 from Swords Dance, so that's why I have Swords Dance here in this slot. But it is able to wall break very well, or at the very least, it's able to put the pressure on him to where whatever it is that I hit with the Facade will be in range of priority from Infernape. That's kind of the goal with this. It's to make sure that, one, I have another option to deal with a non-speed boosted Charizard, and two, just in general to break down his walls like Tentacruel and Shaman and etc., or even Stunfisk, as this thing really doesn't care about the static potential from Stunfisk, as I still have Quick Feet activate regardless of if I'm paralyzed, so that's not a huge deal here. Obviously, I prefer the Toxic Orb, but you understand. So overall, this is pretty strong against him, and it's EV'd such that after Quick Feet, I do outspeed a Jolly Mega Charizard X, as well as a timid Tentacruel, as well as a timid Shaman after the Toxic Orb activates, so Quick Feet boosts me by 1.5 times the original speed, so I will be fast enough to do so. And then Yawn is really just there because I had no need for anything else. I could run something like Earthquake to get super effective damage against the Tentacruel, but Facade does more damage anyway, so there's really no point there. So I just have Yawn just in case for some reason I have to use that last move slot, and that was really the last thing that seemed to have any possible utility in Ursaring's move pool. So that's the second mon. Next up is the Infernape. Now this set I played with a lot, as I don't really know what the best Infernape set it is against his team, but I do know that I really want to wear down the Tentacruel very badly, because Tentacruel is easily going to be the biggest defensive nuisance on his team, outside of potentially like a bulky Charizard X. Like a bulky DD Mega Charizard X is kind of annoying as well if he doesn't let me paralyze it or something, but overall, he doesn't have anything on his entire team that can avoid being 2-hit KO'd by a Choice Band Infernape. In fact, I believe he only has one thing on his entire team that can avoid being 2-hit KO'd. Two things that can avoid being 2-hit KO'd by a Choice Band in close combat, and those are Tentacruel and Ninjask. So this thing is very strong against this team, but the most important aspect of this is the Choice Banded Mach Punch, as this gives me an additional option against a speed boosted Mega Charizard X. It also gives me an option to hit the Thundurus before, if I get a little bit of chip damage on it with Clefable or something. Mach Punch from this still does a sizable amount, maybe 20 to 30%, I believe, which really is pretty convenient in terms of the damage calcs that some of my other mons are dishing out against Thundurus. So just in general, Infernape is pretty strong against him. Probably not going to be a win condition in this game, but definitely is going to be kind of a savior with that Choice Banded Iron Fist boosted Mach Punch, and maybe I can blow through him a little bit with some close combats and Flare Blitzes. And Earthquake is just there so that I can essentially KO the Tentacruel in one hit if I need to. So next up is the Melodic. This is more or less a Thunderous lure with the Wackenberry, whatever it is, Wackenberry, and having Light Screen, Ice Beam, Dragon Pulse, and Recover. Light Screen is mainly there just to so that I can stand in better against his most likely switches to Melodic, both being Shaman and Thunderous. Light Screen will obviously help against both of those. I can also go for Light Screen followed up by an Ice Beam, and with the Wacom Berry and Light Screen, I actually beat Thunderous 1v1 with having Ice Beam, and obviously I can't beat Shaman 1v1 with this set, but with the Light Screen up, I can at least dish off some damage with an Ice Beam. Or I can switch into something like the Bronzong, the Lottie, or the Clef and do some damage to Shaman that way. So overall, this is just going to kind of be something that is my pivot throughout the match. It's not going to be sweeping anything, but it's going to prevent me from getting swept, and it's going to dish off a good amount of damage to really anything he wants to switch in. It is also worth noting that Dragon Pulse from this, if he is like a standard Mega Charizard X, so very little HP investment, it has a chance, it's a pretty good chance to 2-hit KO a standard Mega Charizard X. And if I have Stealth Rocks up, then it actually is a guaranteed 2-hit KO, which is really convenient, as this prevents Mega Charizard X from just setting up on this set, as that's also a goal with this team. I want to make sure that he can't really set up with Mega Charizard X freely against anything. I don't have many things that can OHKO it, but I have a lot of things that can do enough damage to where they will be in range of the, or to where it will be in range of the Mach Punch from the Infernape. So that's the overall game plan. Overall, the investment here just ensures that I can beat but any kind of Thunderous, as well as take hits from the Mega Charizard X. I believe I am EV to survive a +1 Adamant Dragon Claw from, or maybe it's something like that, something along the lines of an Adamant Dragon Claw or 2 from the Mega Charizard X, in addition to taking numerous hits from things like the Clawitzer and other special attackers. So overall, pretty good mon this week. Marvel Scale's there to kind of deter the Toxic Spike lane that the Tentacruel might want to do. Next up is the Bronzong. Now this is a dual screen set, as you can see, with Stealth Rocks and Explosion. Its primary role is to lay those rocks and try to keep as much pressure as possible on Tentacruel if I can. It's probably going to be my dedicated lead, and if I can lay screens as well, that will incredibly benefit Ursaring and really even Mega Lottie in terms of their sweeping potential, as if I can get up screens, I'm pretty confident that Ursaring and Lottie can put in a ton of work and really give me a very solid start. But if I don't get screens early game, it'll be a tougher game. Much tougher match. So it's going to really come down to the lead matchup here, I believe. And if I can have a favorable lead matchup, then I should be set to really win this whole game, in my opinion. But if I have a poor lead matchup, or if Bronzong is shut down by a taunt or something, then I'm going to be in probably for a long ride, as I really need the screens and rocks up early to have a good shot of winning this game, just due to the matchup against the Charizard X and the Thunderous being so difficult. So last up, oh, actually, I should say the investment here. Actually, the investment will allow me to survive a +1 Flare Blitz from Mega Charizard X, from Adamant Mega Charizard X, which is pretty cool. Heat Proof is a beautiful ability on this thing, and Explosion will do a good chunk of damage, about 50% to the Mega Charizard X as well, unless it is much more bulky than I'm anticipating. But last up is the Lottie, the Mega Lottie that is, and it's essentially the same set I brought last week. I really want to get the sub-CM set to work, and I am speed creeping base 100 plus speed nature, so that's going to include Mega Charizard X, it's going to include Shaman and Tentacruel. Overall, he has no switch into Dragon Pulse, he has no Fairy or Steel types, so this is very strong against him. I could run something like Draco Meteor here, but I'm going to opt for Dragon Pulse, as overall I think it's good enough for this matchup. So that's the team. I'm feeling pretty confident going in, but like I said, he is an excellent player. He performed incredibly well in the March Madness tournament, and his prep game was solid in that whole tournament as well. So based upon that, I know I'm going to be in for a tough match. Obviously, I'm up to the challenge, and I guess we'll see what happens here soon. So I will be right back with the battle. Alright, and here we are with the team preview, and he more or less brought a team that I expected. The biggest threats here are clearly the Mega Charizard X and the Thunderous, but it is worth noting that he brought Shaman, which more than likely is going to be a Heal Bell variety, as with Gypsy being a pretty well-known Smogon player, he's going to be familiar with the Smogon norm of using a Thunder Wave Clef to check a Mega Charizard X. So he's probably expecting me to be that kind of set here, which makes me a little bit upset that I kind of fell into that trap, but it's likely an Aromatherapy or Heal Bell, whichever one it is, probably Aromatherapy, Shaman, which means that I'm not really as free to spam Thunder Wave against the Charizard and just assume that everything's going to be okay. So that's something I need to keep in mind this week, or in this game. But like I was expecting earlier, the Ursaring is looking incredibly powerful against his team. He has nothing that can take a hit from this. He has some things that can maybe survive one hit, but everything is 2-hit KO'd here, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping that Ursaring can put in a lot of work here early or late game. Infernape's also looking pretty decent, although I'm wishing I wasn't choice locked anymore, as he does have 2 great switch-ins, 2 close combat, so I'm kind of going to be forced to spam Flare Blitz if I wanted to send in Infernape and do some work, but that lures a Mega Charizard X, which is kind of an issue as well. So overall, choice band and Infernape not looking like the best set 2 have brought this week, but I'm going to have to deal with it. Overall, also Mega Latias is looking pretty good, but in terms of lead matchups, I am expecting either the Ninjask or the Thundurus lead. Regardless, I feel my best lead is probably Bronzong, as the Thundurus is more than likely a nasty plot set, so Bronzong should be able to set up a light screen and rocks before exploding on that. So overall, looking like Bronzong is the best lead. Let's go ahead and hop on into the battle and see if we can pull off a win against one of the tournament favorites. So I lit off with Bronzong, and he leads off with Thundurus, which is fine. I do just try to go for my light screen, but he reveals the taunt. I'm going to pause briefly, as if you recall to what I was talking about earlier in the team building process, if I have a good lead matchup, I have a very good shot of winning this game. But if I don't, it's going to essentially be an uphill battle, as against a player the caliber of Gypsy, both in terms of prep and in terms of battling abilities, every single turn counts. And he essentially was able to achieve early momentum in this game by having a taunt Thundurus as his lead against my Bronzong, as my whole game plan revolves around getting Stealth Rocks on the field and getting screens up to make sure that things like Ursaring and Lottie can go in. So this is a very bad start for me. I'm going to have to essentially fight an uphill battle from here on. But I'm not able to use the light screen because of the taunt, and I'm just going to switch straight to my Clefable, as it seems pretty safe, and he just goes for the knockoff. Now here, I'm left with a bit of a predicament, as he very well could be a Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb variant, and he also could just go for a taunt here. Either one of those options is pretty solid. I'm expecting him to actually go for the taunt on this turn, and probably not have Sludge Wave because he has taunt, as a taunt Thunderbolt. A taunt Thunderbolt Thundurus should be able to beat Clefable 1v1, so there's really no reason for him to have Sludge Wave this week. So expecting the taunt here, I'm going to just go for the Moonblast and get some nice damage on this, maybe get a special attack drop or something, but actually get a crit, which is pretty nice. But now we're left with another pretty critical point of the game. All these early game plays are very, very important to the end game, believe me, as now I am a taunted Clefable, and he has a Mega Charizard X sitting in the back. Mega Charizard X's matchup against my team is so good, and a taunted Clefable cannot do anything to Mega Charizard X. The best I could do is Hidden Power Rock, and he already knows that I'm a bulky set. He's seen the damage from knockoff. He knows at the very least I'm max HP. Probably, well, no, he should know my entire investment if he ran a count, due to using knockoff, which is a physical move. So he should know that I will not be able to do anything to this Mega Charizard X. So here, he's clearly going to switch into Mega Charizard X in my opinion, but I am left with the option. I can either switch or double into my Mega Latias, or I can double into my Ursaring. For a brief glimmer, I was playing or thinking in terms of the MPL rules, and that if he doubles into Charizard here and he wants to do something with Charizard, he'd be forced to Mega Evolve. And in this league, that is not the case. And as you'll see here, that actually plays a role, a pretty significant role, as he doubles into Charizard as I double into my Lottie, expecting that. Now here, I'm going to Mega Evolve and go for the sub, and as you can see, he doesn't Mega Evolve, and at this point I'm like, oh crap, I forgot, as he goes for the Dragon Dance, and he doesn't have to Mega Evolve, so he's not weak to my Dragon Pulse, meaning I cannot take it out with the Dragon Pulse, or even get close. Now, thinking about this in hindsight, or really during the match as well, if I had doubled into Ursaring instead, I would automatically have my Toxic Orb up, and I'd be able to essentially plow through this Charizard. Probably not OHKO it, but I would do like 70 to 80%, unless he's like a max HP variety. And that would easily put it in range of Infernape's Mach Punch. So really, this turn 5 was so big in the outcome of this game, and you'll see this as we proceed further. But he's just not going to Mega Evolve. He has no reason to Mega Evolve, and that's a smart play on his end. I'm able to do 45% of Dragon Pulse as opposed to 80 to 90, which I would have expected if he did Mega Evolve. But unfortunately, that's not how the cookie crumbles this game, and I'm going to be forced into my Bronzong to force him to Mega Evolve and go for the Flare Blitz, but I am invested such that I can always survive a +1 Flare Blitz from this, and I just go for Reflect. My options here were to go for Reflect or Stealth Rock. I thought my best option was to just go for the Reflect, as that will certainly force him out as I bring in my Clefable here, even though Stealth Rocks were so good against this team, but he has so many opportunities to switch into Tentacruel that I didn't think I'd really have the rocks on the field for very long, so I figured overall that Reflect was the better play there. Now here he makes a nice double, expecting my Mega Lottie, and goes into his Clawitzer, and at this point it could be Assault Vest or it could be a Choice Scarf variety. Both of those are really pretty optimal against my team. But I just go into my Melodic as a safe switch in, and I just go for the Ice Beam, expecting to switch into Thunderous or Shaman. I get the freeze on Shaman, which, while it is considered hacks, as he is forced to switch out, he does have Natural Cure, so at least it's not super consequential, as he's just going to go straight into his Tentacruel, as I expect either him to switch out or to stay in trying to thaw, and I just go into my Lottie to look at it as an opportunity to set up. Now here I make a misplay, and this is a misplay that I've made now for 2 straight weeks. As much as it pains me to say, I've made the same mistake 2 straight weeks, and it'll never happen again. So here's my sorry excuse.
In X, Y, and RS, I am pretty strictly an OU player, and my only experience with Ninjask has been in DPP, Diamond Pearl, back in 4th gen, and back then Ninjask's only ability was Speed Boost. But
as you can see here, he goes for U-turn and just goes right through my substitutes and takes out Mega Lottie. So Ninjask gets Infiltrator, and down goes Mega Lottie, and that's kind of bad. So I do want to apologize to the people who watch my videos, as you deserve better than this in terms of battling ability, but my excuse is that I've not had very much experience with low-tier Pokemon, and for the 2nd straight time, I have been put in a bad position because of a lack of knowledge in terms of moves that bypass substitute. So I will not make that mistake again, so I apologize for that, and we're going to move forward and see if we can still come up with a way to win this game. We are in a little bit of a situation now, though, as what I thought was my win condition now has gone down, and I'm against a very good player, so it's going to be even harder to really make the comeback, as he makes an excellent play here, going for the substitute, probably half expecting me to go for a Protect to make sure I got my Toxic Orb, as I couldn't let him knock it off. I needed that speed boost to have a chance of putting in some work against him. And yeah, so I'm now going to start trying to spam some Facades, and he doesn't have any switch-ins. He tries to go into Shaman, that just takes 52% easy, and he reveals the leftovers, confirming my suspicions that he's probably an Aromatherapy, maybe even a Leech Seed Protect set, appears to have Protect, so probably a Leech Seed Protect Aromatherapy set with Seed Flare, that'd be my guess. But he is going to let me just take it out with the next Facade here, which is pretty cool. I do get the crit, but it doesn't matter because I did 52% to him earlier anyways. So down goes the Shaman, and now he goes into his Ninjask. I am not going to let Ursaring go down here, as it still has one more big hit left in it. And I'm just going to go into my Clefable, expecting the U-turn, as I do resist that. I'm able to take it very well, and he goes into his Clawitzer. Now this is a pretty obvious opportunity for him to go for a Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave, and Clefable should be able to eat that up regardless unless he specs, but we've already seen from previous damage that he's not specs. So he just goes for the Sludge Bomb as I go for the Thunder Wave, and he gets the Poison, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm not going to call hacks on that because I froze his Shaman earlier, so it's whatever. But he is going to make a very nice play and switch into his Tentacruel as I try to go for Moonblast to get some chip damage on the Clawitzer, as I needed some chip damage on Clawitzer to guarantee that it would be in range of a Facade from the Ursaring, also would guarantee it's in range of a close combat from Infernape, etc. So he made a very nice play there, expecting me to try to go for chip damage. So here I just go into my Ursaring, and I figured I'd be able to take out this Tentacruel, but actually it's a nearly fully defensive Tentacruel, so it's able to eat up that Facade pretty well, way better than expected. And down goes my Ursaring, and now I'm just able to switch into Infernape, quick close combat, but I've got a very tough uphill battle to go. However, I still do have a win condition in this game, and its name is Melodic, as I have the Wakanberry intact, and as long as I don't let Thundurus knock off my Wakanberry and take me out with a Thunderbolt or something, I actually have a shot to win this game. It's very difficult, but I do have a chance to, as he is just going to go for the knockoff again. I guess he doesn't have an electric move on this, or he was spamming knockoff for some reason. I really don't know. I think he just only had knockoff as his attacking option. But yeah, he's just going to switch into his Ninjask and go for Aerial Ace. That'll take out my Infernape, and now it is Melodic versus the world, as I have a chance to win this game. It's a very small chance to win this game, but I do have a chance. And the best I can really do in a game like this is play to the odds, play to the best possible chance to win this game, and the only possible chance to win this game is if I get essentially the Charizard in a position where I can crit KO it at some point, and that's what's going to happen here, as he actually gets the Confusion with Water Pulse, but luckily for me that doesn't end up being disastrous at all, as I'm going to snap out of Confusion on this next turn and go for the Recover, as basically my only chance to win this game is to be at as high of health as possible against this Ninjask, take it out with an Ice Beam, and then he'll be forced into the Charizard, And from this range, I'm guaranteed to survive an Adamant Dragon Claw. But the only way I KO this is if I get a crit with the Dragon Pulse. So I believe a crit is, what, like a 5 to 9% chance, something like that. I'm not expecting to win this game, but if I can get a crit here, then I will win this game, as the Clawitzer is paralyzed, there's no way it can outspeed me, and I'll be able to essentially stall it out with recovers and wear it down with Dragon Pulses. So, can we win this game? Let's find out. He goes for the Dragon Claw, does not take me out. I go for the Dragon Pulse, and it doesn't even matter if I got the crit, because he's actually a bulky Mega Charizard X. So, very, very good game, Gypsy. I think I got out-prepped and outplayed this game, and that's not something I can usually say. So, very well done on your end, and good luck in the third round of the winner's bracket. But as for us, we are not done. That is just the end of our winner's bracket run. We are still alive in the loser's bracket. We can only lose one more game in this tournament before being eliminated, but we are going to bring our A game the rest of the way through and make sure that we can reach the finals regardless of our early entrance into the loser's bracket. So, like I said, once again, very good game, Gypsy, and I'm excited for whenever our next match may be, as I'm sure we will have another one at some point in the near future. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're looking forward to our Week 3 match. I do not know my opponent yet, but I'm sure it'll be a good opponent as well, as I am actually quite pleased with the level of competition in this tournament, and I'm excited to see what happens next week. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all next time. Peace.